Welcome back to Turning Hard Times into Good Times. I'm your host, Jay Taylor, and I'm really glad to have with me once again Peter Tallman. Peter is the president and CEO and a director of Klondike Gold Corp. Through more than 35 years of experience as an exploration geologist, he has had considerable amount of success, and now he's bringing that his talents and his insights into a project that has scarcely been explored professionally in the past, but to one of the areas that I think has one of the greatest potentials to uncover a sizable gold deposit, and indeed he's having a great deal of success in that direction, it seems, in the last couple of years. This is a company that trades in Toronto. Klondike trades under the symbol KG. You can buy it in the U.S. as I have under KGF. It was selling at 24 cents in U.S. money a little earlier today when I checked, and that gives it a market cap of a mere $23 million in U.S. money or something like that. Very low cap company with a lot of great upside in my view. So thank you for joining me, Peter.
Thank you, Jay.
Well, it's really good to hear from you again. You're up there on the project, I guess, up in the Great Klondike there. And, I think it was June 12th when we last spoke, about a month ago or so. And can you give us an update, perhaps, just a general update on what is the status of the Klondike Gold Exploration project right now?
It'll be a long one because there's been a lot changed in the last 30 or so days. I guess for your listeners, we're doing two things. We're, for the first time ever, surveying the entire district. So we own, to recap, 570 square kilometers and all of the ground that the old 1896 Klondike Gold Rush goldfields lies on. And so we began about a month ago when I was talking to you, full-scale surveying of the entire district with a bunch of different methods, flying airborne, soils, structural mapping, lithologic mapping. And as of today, we've finished the airborne. The results are pending, but I'm expecting to get that this week. The soils are done, and we're just beginning to get the first assay results back, or the geochemical results back from that. Lithologic and structural mapping has another 2 weeks to run, but we have some significant results coming out of that program as well. And then on top of it, we've been prospecting, and we've made two new discoveries. And discovery being, we're finding lots of quartz veining and outcrop with visible gold, so we don't have assays, but those areas of veining tie into some of the structures that we've been seeing and mapping. And so that's really nice. And then the other side of it is we've been drilling since, the end of May. And as of today, we've completed 44 holes and a total somewhat over 5,000 meters of drilling. That was what we announced we would do for the entire year. The drill program has gone incredibly well. We haven't had a hitch anywhere at all. And so we're going to continue on. We have time and a lot of the summer left, so we'll have an expanded program. And we've been testing two areas principally. It was a wildcat test of a target area called Gold Run. I know, Jay, you were really interested in this one. It's 60 kilometers down the belt at the other end of the property on what we think is the same structure as our main target area, the Lone Star. And so we just went down and drilled 4 holes just to see what it would look like. And now I also have the airborne and the regional mapping too, and it looks like Lone Star. So assays are pending. We did see visible gold in the drilling there. That really doesn't mean anything. The visible gold occurs in narrow quartz veins, so even if it's there, we might not get a number out of it, an assay number. What's critical here is that we find gold disseminated in the wall rock adjacent to the quartz veins. And that concept of disseminated gold adjacent to quartz veins is absolutely new and is one of the reasons why we've had so much success.
Yes, indeed. So you've... Okay, go ahead, Peter.
Yeah. No, go ahead. Yeah, you might want to ask a question now.
Yeah, I was just saying that you've drilled 44 holes. How many of them have been released so far? How many have had the assays released so far of those 44?
7. We just did it last week.
Last week, okay. And we'll get to that. I want to ask you about that. But you had something else to say with regard to the first question yet?
Well, and then so that was a wildcat shot with 4 holes, and then the other 40 have gone into Lone Star, which is our principal target.
Yeah.
And at Lone Star, we have 2.5 kilometers of gold, either intersected already in a drill hole or in outcrops. So the total length of it, mineralized zone, is 2.5 kilometers. We've drilled now, taken a 500-meter long segment of that, and drilled it by 250 meters, so 500 by 250 meters at a 50-meter spaced center, and announced the first 7 holes, as you just said, and the rest of them are pending. And that's really designed to give us a really good look at, the geology, the distribution of mineralization, and we're looking for a good idea of what the average grade might be as well. Out of this program.
Mm-hmm. Well, you announced also some assays from holes that were previously drilled, the reassaying program. To me, could you comment on that a little bit? To me, that is really exciting. I think you kind of alluded to it a moment ago when you talked about gold mineralization, disseminated gold mineralization in the rock adjacent to the higher grade quartz veins. Do you have more of those reassaying? One of those holes that were previously drilled yet to announce the assays from?
Well, yeah, they're coming. The original reassay program was we recognized there was disseminated gold and then went, oops, mostly, in that in 2015 and 2016 we drilled holes at the Nugget target, amongst others, where we just analyzed the quartz veins. And so we went back and basically cut the entire hole and assayed that. And one of those holes, one of the first ones we did, came back. The original announcement in the news release 2 years ago was that it was dead. And when we reassayed it, we had a gram over 58 meters. And so there's considerable amount of gold, not exactly where we were expecting it, but still in the target. And there was another hole in that series where we had 2.2 grams over 25 meters. They're effectively equivalent in terms of gold content. We have about 40 drill holes to reanalyze. We're about halfway through cutting them, but the precedence has been on getting the new assays from Lone Star cut, processing those first. So whenever we can slot in time, when somebody isn't busy and they're really busy, they'll cut some more of these old holes. So that's where we're at with that.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it seems like the market isn't paying much attention to it. I mean, to me, when you come out with 1.4 grams over 65 meters, that was a recent assay from the Lone Star target. I don't know if the market is looking for, high grade and they're looking for multiple ounces per ton or what the heck they're looking for, but the stock went up prior to your announcements. And I said, that's, people are getting excited because they know there's going to be some assays coming out. But in fact, as soon as what I thought was pretty good results, the stock was hit pretty hard. What do you think's going on?
Well, and I think you're absolutely right. I actually know, just based on the calls that we got beforehand, was when are the assays coming? When are the assays coming? And, it's like, okay, we'd announced when the assays were coming. That was a publicly known fact, so it was kind of hard to dodge it.
Yeah.
And,
they wanted to know minute by minute. They wanted to know minute by minute.
That's
perhaps
what they want. Yeah,
they don't want their money in there any longer than than it.
But I'll go back to you, what we had in the news release, 1.4 was over 65 meters. As a reminder, we've been drilling Lone Star for, the first 2 holes were in 2016. I think we have 40 or so holes in Lone Star zone that are like that hole. So this isn't just one of them. We're kind of accumulating a body of work here that says there's a significant amount of mineralization there. And the other thing is, it's not just low grade. That very hole you're referencing had 6 grams over 8.5 meters in it. And it means that ultimately, the ultimate objective with Lone Star and really with the rest of the project is I want, if it's low grade, I'm good with that. I want as many ounces as I can possibly get off the top, because I do know there are high grade pockets in here, and we can always go back and worry about upping the grade. We can do that by basically raising the lower cutoff,
sure,
or by finding and targeting some of these high grade veins, because the Klondike is known for quartz veins that run an ounce. So the first bigger picture from a corporate point of view is to get over that million ounce of stuff in the ground. I want that number first before we start worrying about grade. It's just proved to the world that we have a lot of gold here. I think we are beginning to prove that, and then we'll worry about kind of the economics of it down the road.
Yeah, indeed. Well, with so much to shoot at, I mean, a 55-kilometer or 60-kilometer long, and you're suggesting, if I understood what you said a moment ago, Peter, that this may be one major system. I mean, it's not to say all the way along those 55 or 60 kilometers you're going to have a gold mine, but it's a very, very major system from what I can discern from your press releases and so forth.
Well, and kind of the new breaking thinking from the structural end of it is that these structures definitely transect the entire district, and there's specific areas along it which are relatively better gold mineralized, potentially anyway, and we're beginning to see that in our soil data. And these areas are significantly large. So Quartz Creek, which we already knew about, that had a 20 square kilometer gold and soil anomaly that we still haven't got to yet. But that's in the middle of it's an interesting structural zone now that's been identified, and the lithologies are also unique or very similar to the Lone Star stuff. And so we're learning a lot from the regional program and applying it directly to discovering ounces just in the Bonanza and El Dorado Creek areas.
All right, with just about 3 minutes left or so, Peter, when do you expect to have a resource, and what should people be looking forward to the rest of this year in terms of drivers for the share price? Now, I'm a long-term investor. I watch this on an ongoing basis, but a lot of people are wondering, what should they be watching for?
Yeah, well, we're paralleling what Kaminak did. And so that was a discovery in similar rocks, similar mineralization, that ultimately Goldcorp bought in 2016 for $500 million. And their program they started with a soil anomaly and identified a fault system pretty much the same as ours, and took it to a resource and then got bought out. So we have a timeline on that. This year we want to produce a 43-101, an independent geology report that will say, hey, there's potential here. And that's really, and as Kaminak did. And then in Kaminak's timeline, it took him another 2.5 years to produce a resource estimate. For us, we're really doing stealth resource drilling right now. It'll take all the way through next year for sure. And I'm not going to promise a resource at the end of 2019 because we may need 2020 drilling to get there, but we're going to try for it without confessing it on the radio like I just did.
Well, Peter, one of the things that I know is true, having been a veteran in this business for a long time, is that the pros aren't necessarily waiting for that 43-101. And the guys in the big mining companies that start to understand the system, the geology, and the consistency of the mineralization, if it's there, they don't have to wait for all the T's to be crossed and the I's to be dotted before they start to get excited. And I know you've indicated before, the big boys are well aware of your project, and well, they should be given the size of this target, I would say.
Yeah, but there are technical hurdles that they need to check first before they become overtly and publicly interested. So one of them would be a 1 million ounce resource. You need that.
Yeah.
And so that goes back to my comments of we're going to try to get that as fast as we possibly can. It might look, whatever way possible. From there, then we can we can still push forward and advance, try to find more, but also try to upgrade things that look poor if that's what comes out of it.
Well, it's really an exciting story, and you have the funding to take you through this year. I understand probably, even though you're doing a more aggressive drill program than you initially thought you might, I would guess you got most of what you need probably for 2019. But I would also suggest and hope, at least as a shareholder, that as the market starts to focus on the potential of this thing, that it's going to bid the share price up. So if you do have to raise money, you'll do it at a much higher price than 24 cents in U.S. money right now.
All of that is exactly the objective. Yeah, the biggest thing I'm worried about is the turnaround the gold price, because that would lift all gold explorers.
Yeah.
And balancing that against what we're going to the increase in budget for this year, because that's going to take, we have a little bit of cushion, because I'm still promising to spend $2.5 million next year, which is the same as what we're doing this year.
Right.
But there we go. Yeah.
Okay.
We'll
have
see how it works.
Okay, Peter, we'll have to leave it go at that. We're out of time. Thank you so much for the update. It's an exciting story. Look forward to talking to you again in the near future.